professor of history at Virginia College in Charleston, South Carolina, as well as an author and historian. Now, one of the most important things that a person can do to improve their lives is to register and vote. People are often told that, but unfortunately a lot of people have lost interest in politics and don't use their vote because while people are told to register and vote, they are not often told how you should properly register and vote in order to improve your life and the life of your community. One of the best persons who gave an example of that was Malcolm X back in 1964, and his remarks on that were captured in a couple of books, one of them being Malcolm X Speaks, that was a bunch of his speeches that were edited by George Brightman, and Malcolm X By Any Means Necessary. And what he said there is very important. I'm going to share it to you. First of all, he began in 1964 by saying that it's time for you and me to become more politically mature and realize what the ballot is for and what we are supposed to get when we cast the ballot. And a little later that year, at a speech that he gave before the Organization of African American Unity in the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem, where he was assassinated several months later, he gave a speech that is, you can't find it on YouTube, but it is captured well in this book, Malcolm X By Any Means Necessary. So for those of you who don't think voting is important, pay close attention to this. He began by saying that basically people should register not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, but as an independent. Don't sell your soul. If you are registered as a Democrat or a Republican, you've sold your soul. How? He went on to give this description of this African American leader who criticized one of the politicians that were running for president that year. There was the conservative Republican Barry Goldwater versus the Democratic liberal Lyndon Baines Johnson. And he said that one of the worst things that he did was when he condemned Goldwater, the conservative candidate. Why? Listen to this. If he has already condemned Goldwater, then what does Johnson have to do for you? Nothing. Don't let the man know who you're against or what you're against. It is tactical suicide to let Lyndon Johnson know this far in advance that you don't go for the man he's running against. Why? He doesn't have to promise you anything. He's already got you, dumb you, in his pocket. He needs to offer nothing. Well, as long as you and I follow that kind of bird brain leadership, we will never have any political heaven. We will have political hell. I'm not saying that to criticize any personality, but it must be said. Before you and I commit ourselves to any kind of a campaign, make sure that it's going to help the whole, or don't say anything at all. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm for the man, but I never let this man know that I'm against that man until I find out what this man is putting down. Do you understand? Don't let him think that you've got you in your pocket. Don't let him know which way you're going to go unless he produces something that is worthy of your support. Now, think about this for a moment. Too often, we've been taught to vote for one party by pulling the master lever. But if you do that, guess what? That means that one party can ignore you, and another party can simply take you for granted. And so they don't have to do anything. They know you're going to vote one way or vote way the other. So guess what? You gain nothing in the process of that. And because that kind of terrible example has lasted for so long, this is one of the main reasons why people have lost interest in politics. But anyway, he goes on to say that we take a man and we try to get all the people to back him. But then if he sells us out, we will put him in the Hudson River. That's right, in the Hudson River. We'll back a man. We'll support him, but he has to represent us, not the man downtown. And as soon as you back a man, you put him in office, you put him in a position to get you and me something. Then he starts dilly-dallying and compromising and looking out for himself, while the very law of nature demands that that person must be removed. In other words, you have to see to it that the person that you elect has to benefit the community. Think about it for a minute, people. People who live in neighborhoods where you have good schools, good sanitation, safe conditions, and that type of thing, they follow, I've noticed this where I live. They tend to follow a pattern where they go to the council meetings, they observe things, and they keep up with what's going on in the newspapers about this sort of stuff. And if the person that they elect fails to keep up those good schools and those good conditions within the community, they're gone. But unfortunately, in many of our communities, these folks show up to our churches once every 3 or 4 years, whenever election time comes, of course, finds out what you want to hear from political operatives, tells the person what they want to hear, they get voted back in, and the condition of the community does not change. Ladies and gentlemen, that is something that has to change. Politics, you have to understand that the purpose of politics is for you, the voter, the citizen, to control the politicians, not for them to control you. Because in politics, you are the boss. And what Malcolm said is not a new idea either. Back in 1933, you had the great Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who was the founder of Black History Month. That's him right there. And oh yeah, don't believe all that nonsense that they gave us the coldest month and the shortest month of the year to celebrate Black history. That's nonsense. Dr. Carter G. Woodson himself started that to increase pride and self-awareness within this community. Anyway, back in 1926. But anyway, in 1933 he wrote this book called The Miseducation of the Negro, where he said some important things in regard to politics. Listen to this. He said that, let's see, here we go, that the Negro has to endeavor to be a figure in politics, not a tool for politicians. The higher role can be played not by packing all the votes of a race on one side of the fence, as the blacks and whites have done in the South, but by independent action. The Negro should not censor the Republican Party for forgetting him, and he should not blame the Democratic Party for opposing him. Neither can the South blame anyone for itself for its isolation in national politics. Any people who will vote the same way for 3 generations without thereby obtaining results ought to be ignored and disfranchised. As a minority element, the Negro should not knock at the back door of any political party. He should appeal to the Negro themselves, and he should come harmony and concerted action for a new advance to that larger freedom of men. The Negro should use his vote rather than give it away to reward the dead for some favors done in the distant past. He should clamor not for a few offices earmarked as Negro jobs, but for the recognition of these despised persons as men and women according to the provision of the Constitution of the United States. In other words, folks, don't be a tool. Look, you learn and study politics and understand who and what to vote for. Not by somebody coming to church and telling you who you should vote for. But hold it. Some of you might say, man, Mr. Fordham, you know, you might be educated and all that, but I don't know nothing about politics and blah, blah. Hold it. Wait. Think about this, folks. Many of you know the statistics of all the various basketball and football players. Many people who can tell you who wrote this song and who made that movie and so forth. Why? Because you take time to study these things. Folks, in the same way that you can learn about things such as sports and entertainment and that type of thing, you can become educated in politics by reading your newspapers, watching various news programs on television, and not just stuff that deals with one party or the other. Look at the whole so you can do this type of thing intelligently, so you will be the boss of the politician instead of the politician being the boss of you. Now, I'm not saying this to favor one political party or another political party. That's not the point. The point is not so much the party, because these parties will change the way they act once they see that you are doing this kind of thing with an intelligent mind, and that they can't get in office and just do whatever they want without you letting them know that if they don't do the right thing, they are gone. So remember, folks, don't be a slave to any one particular party or to one particular politician. Be a slave to only 2 things, your God and your intelligence, and use them both wisely. This is Damon Fordham.